Hello everybody and welcome to another video. Today we are going to be checking out a brand new game on the channel. Today we're checking out Morimens, who also happen to be the sponsor of today's video. So thank you so much to them for sponsoring our video. And let's get into a little bit about the game. So I just started recently. I just finished the first chapter in the game. And so far, frankly, I've genuinely been having a good time with this game. I've really enjoyed it. It is a turn-based card strategy game where you build decks and teams with different factions to come together to kill the enemy. It's very similar to a lot of turn-based strategies I've played in the past, and they reuse a lot of mechanics which I felt were very strong and actually had a lot of difficult content. In fact, I would actually say, genuinely, this may be the hardest gacha that I may have ever played. I was dying early on into the first chapter, so if you're looking for a game with hard content, then I think this game is perfect for you. And then also, my initial impressions of the story were also very fond. It reminds me of a lot of games I've played in the past. It's kind of like a very dark, deep, heavy, and serious narrative tone. And for a gacha game, that's quite unique. Morimens tells the story of a collapsing world where memories themselves are kind of decaying, and reality is slowly being swallowed up by an unseen catastrophe. People are like losing their memories of friends, family, past events, and a lot more. Here is where you encounter the Awakers, the other characters in the game, living weapons who are born from human regrets and forgotten histories, each struggling with their own fractured identities. As you ascend the layer of Morimens, venturing deeper into the realms that are shaped by fear, denial, and broken timelines, your job is to kind of study these disillusions, and you have to find a way to combat it, bring back the memories, and hopefully, well, save humanity. It's a story that I felt was very intriguing upon first impression, and I'm really interested to see where it goes. But that's just my first impressions of the story. But why don't we get into a little bit more here? Because there's a lot more to talk about with this game. And I want to first show you some of like the basic character designs of the game, because you'll see that they're very unique. They're not like your typical gacha characters. You have characters that are like choking them. I hope she's okay. Furries, whatever this is, a demonic vampire. Oh my gosh. A spider lady with an egg, and a slime girl named Karen. I thought that was a funny name to give to just Karen, because all the characters actually have like really unique names, which I'm not going to try to pronounce some of them, like Aegis and Alva and Faint. There's a lot of good ones in the game. My personal favorites were Agrippa, I think. And then I also really like Doll Inferno as well, who is one I just pulled on the recent banners. And something else, which we're going to note too, which is really important, is that almost every character in this game is very easily obtainable. You can see that there's not many different rarities in this game. There's not many too like low rarity characters. You can see almost every character is an SSR besides these four characters here who are your starter character. Something else you may notice is that they have 4 different factions. You can see that kind of in the top corner here. If we go and start a battle, we can see that we have 4 different factions. There's Karo, Ultra, Aquor, and Chaos. This is going to be a really important mechanic that you're going to want to like note down when making teams and pulling in this game. You're going to want to know these 4 factions. They all have different unique playing styles in battle. And when making our teams, we can only compromise characters of 2 different factions. So for example, if we wanted to do a Chaos and an Ultra, we can only have 2 characters from those. So the characters that I've been mostly using so far have come from the Karo faction. This has been my favorite one to use. So you see here, I can't include a character from the Chaos faction because I already have 2 other factions in here. All these factions have unique mechanics too and kind of work with each other. But I'm going to get into that kind of when we get into the gameplay here. So let's start off with one of my favorite teams in the game that I've been using quite a bit. So here we go. As you can see in the bottom of our hand, we have cards. All these cards have points. When I play a card with a point, it's going to take away from the points on the left side there. So for example, this card costs 1 point. We're now at 4 out of 5 because it costs 1. Very simple stuff. All the characters in this game have like ultimates or something that is like an ultimate, and we need to get points towards it. You can get these points by playing your cards or get something called ailments. Certain cards give you more ailments. For example, this one here gives me 5 ailments, and we can see when I play it, I'm going to get +5 in the corner there towards my ultimate ability. There's also the Keeper's ultimate ability, which rotates and comes around every so often. The Keeper is your main character, and no matter which team you assemble here, the Keeper will always have their ultimate. These cards can range from anything to dealing damage, applying debuffs on the enemy. Some of them grant shields, some of them heal, and a lot more. In the bottom right hand corner here, you can see we have a 5 out of 10 This signifies how many cards we have in our hand. We can only have a maximum of 10 cards. Then we can also see beside it, we have a 6 here. This represents how many we still have in the draw pile and how many are in the discard pile. These are going to rotate, so we can only draw from the draw pile. But once we've drawn all the cards from the draw pile, the discard will then go back into the draw and we draw them all over again. Very kind of simple card-based mechanic stuff. We also have a auto and fast forward feature. So if you don't want to do the battle necessarily, you do have the option to auto it, and the game will usually make the best decisions for you. And then also the fast forward feature will 2 or 1 times your speed. I always play on 2 times speed, and I think most players will probably make the decision to do so. Now you see here, because I'm playing the Chaos faction, I get these things called embryos. I basically build up this red bar here, and then once it goes to full, I get these embryos, which give me cool effects, like giving 30 ailments to an awakener on top of 10 crit rate as well, which I can give to any of my characters. And again, this helps build up their ultimate. So if I give this to my spider lady, she now is halfway through to her ultimate. Now this team I built very particular because it's a poison-based team, which I actually used to beat the final boss of Chapter 1. This team is very powerful. It's been one of my favorite teams to play. You basically build up poison on the enemies. You can see it here in the status description. Poison, and all these characters' ultimates actually deal poison to the enemy, which is like a dot effect, and it builds up over time, and it basically never goes away, and it just applies at the end of all their turns and does damage to them. This has been one of my favorite sets to play, and it's been very, very overpowered in my opinion. So I've been having a lot of fun doing this. Now there's a lot more to combat in this game. It's very in-depth, and that was just kind of a basic overview, and I really highly recommend doing a lot of your own research on this, because there is a ton more to look at in this game. Next up, I want to talk a little bit about the dungeon crawling in this game. Yes, this is kind of similar to like a dungeon crawler, where it's kind of similar to like a simulated universe or a chaos mode. It's similar to a lot of those, where you go around, you can do events, you can do battles, you can open rusted doors, you get buffs, you get debuffs, you can build out your character, similar to that. You get new cards. There's so much to do with these dungeons and so much strategy to think about while you build up to go and beat the final boss of the dungeon. To beat the final boss, you're going to want to do things like build up these black sigils so you can buy stuff from the shops. You want to do events so that you can get even more black sigils or more cards, stuff like that. You can also sell cards that you're not using. So if you have a card, for example, like a strike, maybe isn't that good with the deck you're using, you can sell it, get it out your hand so that you don't pull that card again. There's lots of different strategies which you can implement in these kind of like dungeon game modes to go and make sure you can beat the final boss at the end of the dungeon. Because usually, well, frankly, it's a pretty difficult boss. So yeah, you kind of saw some of the basics there. Now, getting back into factions, we saw in that battle, the Karo faction, it does the embryos, which give you the awakening points. The Ultra one is really good because it gives you extra turns. And then Acor is really good because it gives you tentacles. You heard me correctly. So all of those have their own unique play style, and you can kind of choose which ones you want to get from the gacha. And the gacha system in this game is very, very unique. They give you a ton of summons right at the start of the game. As you can see, I have 16 here, but I've already used somewhere in the realm of 100 because they give you so much from the mail at the start of the game. So you immediately get just tons and tons of summons. I think I've already done around like maybe 200 summons thus far, and I've only just beat chapter 1. Now, keep in mind though, the summons are worth a little bit less in this game. You do summons in groups of 5, and for most banner, the pity is 30, and there's only a 33% chance to get the on banner character. And then if you lose twice in a row, then on the 3rd time it's guaranteed. So it'd be 90 summons till guaranteed, and a 33% chance to get the character you want on every 30. So it's a little bit different than how your typical one works, but the base rates for SSRs is still 3%, with the overall probability being 5% until the maximum. So it's still pretty decent. And the other interesting thing is you can actually limit the character pool a little bit, because on the standard banner, and then also what you can kind of like attune to like a light cone banner or weapon banner or stuff like that, you can switch which factions you want and pick specific cards for specific characters. So for example, with this banner here, I can say, hey, I really want this card for this specific awakener, and then I can only focus on this one. And then for the standard banner, you can choose which faction you want to focus on, and then you'll only get characters from that specific faction. You can even test out and come over here and see what characters you want. There's a trial for every single character in the game, and you can come over here and see these trials and be like, hey, I really like this character. I know I need to pull them. As soon as I did this spider trial, I knew I needed that poison. So I went and got the character on the Karo banner. Even with the limited banners, it works kind of in the same way, where whatever the character on the banner is, you're only going to get other characters from that character's faction. So for example, this character, Doll Inferno, you're only going to get characters from her faction on her banner. So that's pretty cool, because it kind of limits the character pool a little bit, and it's easier to pick who specifically you want from each faction. I think it's a very unique gacha system, not something I've seen before, and I like how many free summons they give just right off the rip of the game, as it helped me personally pull a lot of the characters that I wanted. I basically got the entire team I wanted off the rip of the game. This game has a lot more cool things, like a PvP mode, which unlocks later into the story a little bit. There's also, of course, daily quests, weekly quests, manuals, where as you level up, you get rewards for it, similar to like an adventure rank or something like that. There's, of course, like achievements where you get the silver, which is what you use to buy the polling currency in this game. There's a store where you can get pretty cool skins. These do cost money, but some of them I really like, to be honest. They're just very, very unique. Like, well, I don't even know what this is. Oh my goodness. And even more, there's like event tabs, which again, as you level up, you get more summons. So like I just got another 10 pull there. Lots of cool stuff you can get from this tab as well. There's also the community tab in the bottom here, where if you join their communities like Reddit, Discord, stuff like that, you get free summons. So there's just all of these different ways to get summons, and it's so easy to like almost get every character you want. In fact, let me just go get a character right now. Hold up. You'll only see the character when you see the orange. Come on. Ah, I didn't get it. Hold up. Wait, one more. Boom. Frick. Last one. Then we stop. Come on. Frick. Might have to go to pity on this one. Luckily, I think I have enough to go to pity. Come on. Come on now. You know you want to. You do not want to. Oh my goodness. We going to pity. We are going to pity. Okay. Let's see it. Oh my gosh, man. It's fine. This is hard pity. We reached the pity. We reached the pity point. It should be guaranteed gold. There it is. Okay. Give me something good to end off the video. Boom. Final one. Cinema. Come on. Be somebody cool. Who is it? Alva. Oh, you know what? I already had her. That's okay. No worries. That's okay. You know what? At least we get a duplicate of her, and that gives us some bonuses on Alva. So it's all cool. Now, luckily for me and all of you, starting November 17th, so it's already began, players can claim up to 200 pulls in the game right now and get a limited SSR selectable. Also, in good news, this game is going to be celebrating their anniversary on November 30th as well. So a lot to look forward to. Huge day, so I'm not too worried about my bad pulls there, but I do think that's going to end our video for today. If you haven't already, please go check out this game in the description below. It'll be in the description and the pinned comment. Highly recommend you go and check it out for yourself. But either way, that's gonna be all for me, boys, and I'm gonna see you all in the next one. Peace.